Welcome to the Simpler Business Podcast, where we talk about ways to do what you love and serve your people in a way that brings you income and freedom. I'm your host, Marissa Roberts. Join me as I chat with my favorite entrepreneurs about how they simplify their biz so that you can simplify yours. Want to simplify how you run your business? Get it out of your head and into a system. Your project work, to-do list, SOPs, content calendar, launch steps, swipe files, and more can all be housed in one system instead of across various apps and software. This makes it much easier to store and find everything that you need in seconds. This is so handy when you want to manage your time, boost your productivity, when you're ready to start delegating or outsourcing parts of your business, or if you just want to reduce the mental load as a business owner or entrepreneur. Now, if you've already tried Trello, Asana, Monday, Dropbox, your notes app on your phone, paper planners, and none of them helped, I don't blame you for giving up and just winging it as best you can. But if you want to grow your business without burning out, systemising it is a must. The good news is it doesn't have to be difficult. You just need a little bit of know-how, a little bit of guidance, and a helpful resource or two from somebody who's already using a good system successfully. And I have the perfect person for you. My guest today is Carly Smith from Socially Graceful. Carly's passion is helping business owners nail their social media and email marketing, writing and implementing strategies for them, and freeing them up to focus on growing and scaling, which, I love all of those things. Carly's been in the digital space since 2008, and I think we've known each other since probably 2009 or 2010, around then.
Yeah.
And it was all like starting off at the height of blogging. So Carly's worked with incredible bloggers that just make me fangirl, like Chantel from Fat Mum Slim, Cherie at Raising Master Max, Melissa Walker Horn at Sugar Coated. I'm like, all of those amazing names and more. And what I love about how Carly works is there's no cookie cutter approach to her strategies. She offers a bespoke service for her clients, and she specializes in writing copy that is conversational and creates a real connection while getting epic results and sales. And along with her done for you service, Carly also offers a done with you service and DIY options for content and strategy that will help take some of the stress and overwhelm away from running your business. Now, Carly has a real knack for practical strategy that cuts out all of the noise and all of the fluff and helps you focus on the things that make a real difference in your business. From social and email content to apps and software that make your job easier, Carly has the inside info on all of it. And so I'm really excited to have her on the show today to talk about getting things done the simple way using Notion, which is an all-in-one workspace that I think you are going to love. Welcome, Carly. I'm so excited that you're here.
I'm so excited to be here.
It's like a little reunion because we have known each other since back in the blogging days. And it's really cool.
It's been so long, And it's so funny because sometimes I sit and I think, how long have I actually been doing this for? And I still talk to Cherie and Chantel and Melissa, and I still talk to them all. And I still find it absolutely just amazing that I was in this space for so long. And I still love it. I still love the fact that I grew up in this space essentially.
Yeah. I think blogging made a real difference to the online world. It really there was a lot of forums and chat rooms and stuff like that, but blogging was kind of that feel good factor. Like if you needed a little escape from a busy day or you needed to just chill out and feel connected to somebody even though you didn't have people around you, I really found that blogging was a really good way to fill in that gap. I really felt like I truly knew all of the people behind the blogs I was reading, and I missed that, because I know a lot of us have moved from just blogging into other things and some have given it up, and it's a different landscape now than it was back in the glory days of the 2010s plus for a few years.
Definitely. I think blogging has just changed so much. It's so much more about SEO purposes now. It's not about venting and just getting it all out or sharing something amazing that's happened in your life with everyone that reads your blog posts. It's so much different now. And I feel really grateful that I got to be a part of it when it was amazing and this really genuine, authentic platform.
Yeah. Same. I loved it. But yeah, I mean, I could reminisce all day, but I suppose we should get practical as
Yes.
well. So we're going to talk about Notion today. And I was
Yes.
just saying to you off air before we hit record, I'm so glad you're here talking about it, because Notion was a word I heard in like 2019, 2020. And I was like, oh, what is everybody talking about? But I never really looked into it until this year. And then it's like my brain exploded with all the possibilities. And then, of course, I got overwhelmed straight away and was like, oh, no, I don't have time to learn something brand new or start everything from scratch. And honestly, it's true. A lot of my systems and processes started off in my notes app on my iPhone. So, I mean, it's better than in my head, but it still wasn't easy to share that with team members or make actual systemized things out of it. So I am all for some sort of tool that's going to help me take what's in my head and take it out of there and make it shareable with other people. But yeah, I don't want to have to commit another 50 hours a week to doing so. So I'm really keen to hear your take on Notion. What is it for those of us listening who haven't heard of it before? How would you describe what it is and why it's so awesome?
So for me, Notion, I would describe as basically it's like an organizing tool. So it's such a mix of Asana and Trello and even your notes app. Like, it's not just one of them. Whereas like obviously Notion is like a project management tool, just like Asana, but then it's also got the ability to create boards just like Trello. You can add your calendars in there and plan it from a perspective of looking at it as a calendar, but like on a whole basis rather than just looking at one particular date or something. I personally love to clip notes as well. So I use it as a bookmark system too. So you can, if you use Google Chrome, and I'm pretty sure there'd be an extension on Firefox too. But if you use Google Chrome, there's an app, like a little extension that you add, and you can basically just save an entire web page straight into your Notion's notes.
That would be so handy, because at the moment I save everything to my MacBook bookmarks, and then I forget that I've saved them. I can't find them. I don't even know how to retrieve the bookmarks at this point.
But what I love most about it, and this is completely off topic and beyond, but when you save it, when you actually bookmark it into Notion, you can then edit that text and those images and everything that you've just saved. Like, it basically becomes an editable document then.
Like,
it
your
is mind-blowing.
version
It is
of
honestly mind-blowing.
I love that.
I know. Anyway, so basically Notion is this little power horse, and I absolutely love it because it has so many capabilities. And yes, I was exactly like you. I originally logged in and was like, what the hell is this? This is so overwhelming. And I promptly like exited out, and it took me, I would say, at least 6 to 9 months before I actually started using it and creating. And my biggest tip to really reduce that overwhelm is to use a template to begin with. And something that I definitely try and encourage people to do is find something that works for you. So if you love Trello, but you're wanting to sort of extend yourself, then create a board just like Trello, but do it in Notion. So then that way you're not trying to step out of your comfort zone too far. You're sticking with what you know, but then you might then convert that to a table. So then you're starting to look at it from a table perspective, a bit like ClickUp, a bit like Monday, but it just presents the information in a different way. So then you're able to view it differently. And then that's when I find it starts opening up all those possibilities. Whereas if you love Asana, then you can add bullet points, you can add like dot points and all these other random different things. Like, there's the to-do list, there's the bullet points, the numbered points, the toggle, like, so you can literally open things up and down. There's so many options. And I think just, I know it's overwhelming, but just get started.
Yeah. It's like everything else. Once you use it, you get it. Yeah.
Just once you dive in and start, you'll start seeing all the possibilities, and you'll literally just be like, oh my God, I should have done this sooner.
Ooh. All right. So from a business point of view, then, when you're talking about like how you use it and how your clients use it, what do they actually put in Notion? Is it like launch calendars or content, or like what are some of the really good options or some of the good things that they put into Notion?
So for my clients, the people who are doing my graceful content creation consulting side of things, their content strategy lives in Notion, plus all the content ideas that I give them, plus when they write it in Notion for me to then approve.
So it's all one easy to access area.
Yeah. So it's all just in one little hub. And basically I can leave comments, I can leave notes, I can do tweaks, I can highlight things, I can make things bold and italic. I can basically annotate their work. They can also upload videos and images as well. So if they're wanting to show me their reels or graphics that they've made, they can either do it by including a link. So for example, if they've uploaded it to their Dropbox, they can just include the link to the Dropbox for me to click on. Otherwise, they can upload it into Notion itself. So if you've recorded a video on your phone, you can then upload it. It does have an app as well, which is just perfect, but I do prefer the web version. But yeah, so basically that's what my clients predominantly use it for. Me personally though, it houses all of my SOPs. I basically have a socially graceful wiki that lives on there that basically outlines my brand values, all of my ideas, all of my branding information. So when my graphic designer did all my branding, that all lives in there as well. My brand values, the ideal client that I have, so I've got them all mapped out, as well as all the SOPs that I have for my business. They're all in there and are easily accessible. And then I can just share that specific page if I wanted to with anyone that I bring on into my business. And then they have complete control over it and can see it and can access it all. You can also choose how people can access Notion pages. So you can either give them access to the entire workspace, which is basically everything that you would put in there would be related to your work if you were bringing on a VA, or you can just give them access to a single page. And when you give them access to a single page, you can choose whether they can edit it, whether they can just view, whether they can just comment. So you have all these other little options in there as well. It's a bit like Canva, how Canva lets you choose how people can use it.
Yeah, or how Google Drive does too. Yeah.
So
that's really cool.
That's how I use it. I also use it to plan out my day. So one of the templates that I just created for one of my resource hubs was a monthly to-do list, and it's exactly the exact to-do list that I use myself, basically to plan out my month.
I really want that.
I know. I love it, and I always have Notion open. Always. It is always open. But that's just a really brief rundown. But basically, my entire business lives in Notion.
So it's really like everything that you'd normally just keep in your head, you were able to just get it all out into one tool that's easy to use.
Yep.
Because I find I use G Suite at the moment and I love it and I recommend it to people, but I do find it's a little bit clunky. So how does Notion go with that sort of thing? Like, is it a smooth experience to use, or
Look,
I guess more you practice?
So if you were to look at my Notion right now, you'd be like, oh my God, this is chaos. But I know where everything is. I know where everything is. Whenever I'm like taking a screenshot of something that I've created, I always like push away my little sidebar so you can't see the mess. But so in terms of the clunkiness, you title things appropriately, obviously. So a lot of my to-do list, to give you an idea, when I create my month, I do my month. So I write October 2022. In that file, itself, in that page, I have my 4 main priorities for the month, so the needle moving forward goals that I have. I then have my overview of my to-do list. So I say what dates I need certain things done. So for example, end of month reports need to be completed by the 10th of October. I want all my content plans done by the 10th. I want all of my content written by the 15th, ready for my graphic designer by the 19th, little things like that. Yep. So I add all those key dates in. I also add in any professional development that I have coming up that I want to remember. And then I link down the bottom to the other page, which is my to-do list, because you can link to pages within pages.
That's cool.
So then they become all threaded, which is just beautiful. So then obviously I have my to-do list, and then there's a backlink of that. So then if any time I need to go back and view anything, I can. It's all just in there. And
that's awesome.
You can have everything threaded. Mine does look like a little bit of a mess, but if you're strategic in how you write and word and name your pages, then you're fine. And you just keep everything together. And obviously you can duplicate pages. So for example, when I do the month, like, so for example, September, all I did was just duplicated that and changed it
my
into
God.
October.
I love how you
Then
said
I'm not having
obviously,
to
but it
spend
just blew my
hours.
mind.
I'm not having to spend hours like resetting everything back up again. It's just already there.
I love that. That
Yeah.
is so cool.
But look, I think anything can become messy. Anything can become unorganized. It's just how you use it and you make sure that you use it. So, for example, like I mentioned with the bookmarking, if you looked at my notes, they are very extensive. There are so many things bookmarked, and some of them I haven't gone back to. So, one of the things that I would say is if you plan on doing that sort of stuff, making sure that you dedicate time then to go back to it, to then use it, to actually make it purposeful. Otherwise, you're just adding something else to the list of things, and we don't want that. We want things to be purposeful and meaningful.
Yeah, and easier as a result of
Yes.
using them, not more
Yes.
overwhelming.
Definitely.
That's really cool. All right, so then if somebody's like listening going, right, that's it, I'm going to give Notion a try, but they don't want to jump in and feel overwhelmed like we first did when we had our first look at it, what do you think they should actually start with? Is there an easy thing that they can create first in Notion that's going to help their business run smoothly, but also help them physically use Notion for the first time and get comfortable with it?
My biggest tip would be to create a blank page. So sign up, it's free. There's no fee involved. The only time when there's a fee involved is when you start adding team members. But if you just want to play around with it, it's completely free. Like, so why not just give it a go and see if it works for you? I would jump in, and if you use the backslash, so the one that's on the question mark.
Yeah, got ya. I had to look at my keyboard just then.
I'm like, is that called a backslash? I'm like, I should know this, but anyway, it's fine. So use the backslash, and that will basically bring up all the little options. So you can make headings just like you would in a blog. You can insert tables, and so there's two different table options. You can insert a table by itself that sort of stands alone and is a bit like when you insert a table into a bit like Word, but not quite. Whereas if you do it as a database, that allows you to then convert it from a table to a board, to a calendar, to a timeline. There's so many different options when you add as a database. But I would just say jump in, have a play, maybe just add a to-do list in there. So add a heading and then use the to-do list, the check boxes, because I love the check boxes, because then when you tick it off, it crosses it out and it's just like, yes, I got it done. I love that personally, just for me.
Yes.
I'm definitely one of those people that loves to see things crossed out. So I love that it crosses them out and still leaves them there so they don't disappear. They're still there. You can still see everything you've accomplished in the day, but you just get to cross them out.
So satisfying.
I know, it is so satisfying. And I would just make a simple to-do list, and it might be that that's all you do in that day. And then the next day you might go, okay, what else can I do? And I would just say start small, start simple. If you're like, okay, I'm ready for templates. So there are so many templates that you can see and access via Notion itself. So many people add them on there. A lot of them are free and some of them are paid. Like, it just completely depends. But I would start looking through the templates and seeing what templates are on offer. That's how I started. So I would look at the budgeting template and I'd be like, oh, that's really cool. And so I would download it and include it, like duplicate it into my Notion. And then I would look at it from the perspective of how can I change this to suit my needs?
Yeah.
And that's when I would start tweaking it. And once you get started, it's not hard because you've started playing around with it, and then you're like, oh my God, this is amazing. And you just keep going. And that's when you create all your own templates and you go from there. But I would say easiest and quickest way is a to-do list. That's probably the easiest and simplest way to get started. And I think once you start with one to-do list, then you'll be like, oh, can I make more?
Yeah, that would be me actually. Yeah, I would totally do that. Okay, well that feels really good then, because I think I would have that sort of, not writer's block, I guess, but when you look at the blank page and you're like, when you buy a paper planner or a new notebook.
You don't want to write in it.
You don't want to write in it because you don't want to mess it up. And we are like the same person, I swear. And I kind of have that thing with Notion. I'm like, oh, I keep duplicating like one thing and then deleting it because I don't want to mess up my Notion. So I think having templates, you're right. If I find templates that actually feel good when I'm looking at them, I should just pick one that aligns with what I'm looking for and then tweak that to suit what I need. Not keep looking and looking for a better version of a template or a different one, but just choose one and then tweak it. Sounds like a better option. Yeah.
Correct. Because once you do get started and once you find one that works for you, you'll be like, oh, I can create a new one myself.
Mm-hmm.
Like I've just started using color to section out things.
Ooh.
I know, and I'd never done it previously, and I was like, I actually really like this.
Yeah.
And so I'm having so much fun with it, and I'll have to show you off camera, but I'll have to show you, just you and me.
We need
but
a video
one
series.
of the things that I've just done for like my graceful content creation consulting people is in their content strategy, I've actually used images to divide the text. So it would just be like a normal PDF document that I would send them, because previously I used to just make this document in Canva, but for this purpose I want it to live all in the one place.
Mm-hmm.
And I've just used images to divide it up, and I'm like, I never thought to do this before.
Me neither.
And it just looks so beautiful, and you can create columns, and you need to use Notion. Everyone needs to use Notion. And it's free. Like, what platforms are free these days?
No, even G Suite, even Google Workspace, that's all. They've just introduced pricing for that as well. And it seems like your eyes light up when you talk about this stuff. So obviously it's fun to use as well because of that creative side of it, which you don't get in Dropbox, you don't get that in Google.
No.
Like, you
don't even get it in Asana.
Yeah, no, you don't.
You don't get that. And I think because you can add a little bit of your personality in there, it feels more you.
Yeah. And see, I've always liked the idea of Trello, but when I actually use Trello, it feels really restrictive. Yes. Like I can add pictures, but that's kind of it, really. Otherwise, it's just cards. There's nothing else creative that I can add in there. Yeah. This sounds really good. I'm going to have to give it a go.
You will. You should. I will share with you my Notion template. Just for you.
That's just what I was about to ask you for. Actually, I was going to say, have you got any that you might want to share with our listeners?
Well, I am more than happy to share my month's to-do list. Normally I add it, so it is added to my Swipe It Baby, which is my $10 per month subscription.
We should
everyone is more than welcome to join that. I'm in the process of adding lots more templates for Notion in there, but for you guys in the show notes, I'll get Marissa to put it in there in the show notes for you. You can all get access to my month's to-do list, and that might hopefully help reduce the overwhelm a little bit, and you can see how I've set it up and everything. So yeah.
That would be awesome. Thank you. I'll make sure we've got a link to Swipe It Baby too, because I know that a lot of people are finding that really helpful.
Yes.
So I'll make sure there's a link in the show notes for anyone who want, if they love the to-do list and they want to go further, I'll be like, just go find them here.
Definitely. So with Swipe It Baby, it basically contains all my swipe files. So in there at the moment, there's like 90 content ideas, like there's 60 hooks, 60 call to actions. There's, oh my God, what else is in there? I just added in like the form questions I use for onboarding clients. Like, so it's perfect for service-based businesses, but it's also really good for e-com too. There are more things coming for e-commerce, I promise. But at the moment, it probably is definitely amazing for like social media managers, VAs, and anyone that has to onboard a client.
Yes.
But so much more is getting added in. Yeah, coaches as well, all of them sort of people.
Oh, that's going to be awesome. Because that's the thing. There's so much good stuff that you can include, but having it all housed in the one easy to access area, something that you don't mind having open all day, because, usually things like admin related tasks or content creation for me, when I'm in like a state of flow, it's great. But when I'm just getting started and it's like clunky at the start, I always feel like if I was had an opportunity to be more creative, or if it looked more beautiful, or if I could do more with it, I'd be more keen to actually jump in and get started. And it sounds like Notion might be a good fit for that, because I've got plenty of space there.
Definitely. I definitely think so. Definitely.
Yay. Oh my gosh. I'm so glad that you were here today to share that with us. I will definitely leave links in the show notes because I know some of the listeners will be like, yes, I need to check this out. So that'll give them a nice, easy way to do it. And for anybody who wants to hear more from you, Carly, where should they go? Should they go to your website, socials? What's the easiest way?
So probably jump over to socials. I'm always very active over there. Always, I guess that's because I am a digital strategist after all.
Yeah, that's
I
your
should
job.
Be. My socials should be active. But no, definitely jump over to like my socials, and I have access. Like if you tap the link in my Instagram bio, which is at socially_graceful, you can definitely get access to like my website, any of my offers, as well as my podcast. All of that sort of stuff.
Oh, yes. Good podcast too, everybody. So I'm not saying stop listening to this podcast, but if you're looking for more podcasts, yes, Carly's is awesome. So yes, you should definitely tune in. I'll put a link to your Instagram in the show notes as well then, and we can use that as a jumping off point for people to go and spend some more time with you online.
Definitely. Well, thank you so much for having me.
Oh, it's been so fun. I'm so glad you came on the show. And for everybody listening, I really hope that you enjoyed our conversation as much as I did and you got some value from it. We'd love to hear I was going to say we'd love to hear in the show notes, but I actually mean on reviews. Go on your favorite platform. I think Spotify does reviews now as well as Apple Podcasts, and let us know if you liked this conversation because we're really keen to hear from you too. And I will see you all in the next episode. I hope you enjoyed this episode of the Simpler Business Podcast. If you did, please subscribe, rate and review us on Apple Podcasts. There's a link in the show notes to make it nice and easy for you, just the way we like it. If you're ready to simplify and scale your business, you can get started with my free audio class at marissaroberts.com. See you next time.